Vanessa needs a studio for her brand, not a roommate. My father didn't even stand, just swirled his overpriced wine while I held 2 luxury cruise tickets I had bought for them. She's actually doing something with her life, Dale said, his voice flat. You are 29, Corinza. You are a dead weight. Get your rubbish out of my hallway. Go live on the streets for all I care. Maybe the cold will freeze that sour look off your face. I looked past him. My childhood bedroom wasn't a bedroom anymore. It was stripped bare, walls dripping with neon pink paint, my desk replaced by ring lights, my entire life crammed into 3 black garbage bags stacked like soggy leaves. I didn't scream or cry, gently placing the envelope with the cruise tickets on the hall table as a silent marker of the vacation they just lost, then grabbed my garbage bags and walked into the freezing night without a word. I drove my beat-up sedan through the blinding snow until a motel with a flickering vacancy sign appeared, the heater rattling like a dying lung, blowing lukewarm air on my frozen hands. My parents hated this car, called it an eyesore, unaware I drove it on purpose. It was camouflage. Sitting on the lumpy motel bed, listening to the wind shriek, my mind returned to the original sin. The $5 million mistake of 1999 when I was 4, Dale missing a startup meeting due to my 104-degree fever and seizure, investors who attended becoming multimillionaires while he never forgot it, staring at me every birthday with hollow resentment, saying, "You cost me $5 million, Corinza. You start life with a negative balance." He didn't raise a daughter. That resentment became the parasite tax. Since 16, I paid rent in my own house, every paycheck garnished, funding the golden child, while Vanessa remained the asset and I the liability, paying for headshots, lip fillers, and spa days so she could marry rich, drained month after month, while they saw my oversized hoodies and messy bun and assumed failure. They were wrong. I pulled out my laptop, scratched casing but military-grade processor, while they thought I fixed printers. They didn't know I was a financial fixer for high-stakes venture capital, hunting fraud, tracing hidden assets, cutting rot from ledgers, surgical, ruthless, very expensive, earning $650,000 base last year without bonuses, enough to buy their house thrice or clear the mortgage in an afternoon. Yet I hid my wealth in offshore accounts, wore thrift clothes, drove a rusted sedan, knowing if they discovered my worth, they wouldn't just bleed me, they'd butcher me. In the dark motel room, blue screen glow illuminating my face, they thought they discarded trash, unaware they had declared war on a woman who destroys financial criminals for a living. I needed to work. Work was the only thing that made sense as the world dissolved, and I reached into my bag for my laptop. The one machine that held the encrypted keys to my entire career. My hand closed around empty air. The bag was light, too light. My stomach dropped so hard I felt dizzy. I dumped the contents onto the motel duvet. Chargers, cables, a hard drive. But the laptop, the matte black machine containing algorithms worth millions, was gone. I didn't panic. I grabbed my phone and opened the Find My Device app. I watched the little blue dot ping. It wasn't at my parents' house. It was 3 meters away, blinking steadily at a location on 5th Street, easy cash, pawn, and loan. I drove there in a fugue state. The snow was turning to gray slush. When I walked into the shop, the smell of dust and desperation hit me instantly. I showed the guy behind the glass my ID and the serial number on my phone. He didn't even look up from his magazine. "I cannot give it to you without the ticket," he said. "Store policy, or you can file a police report and wait 3 weeks." The ticket. I ran back out to my car, popped the trunk, and dragged out the 3 black garbage bags Dale had thrown at me. I tore them open right there in the parking lot, hand shaking in the freezing wind, digging through my clothes, old shoes, and books until I found it, a crumpled yellow slip of paper stained with coffee grounds, wadded up inside a pair of jeans. Bella hadn't just packed me up. She had looted me. I walked back inside, smoothed the receipt on the counter, and paid $800 to buy back my own property. I sat in the front seat of my car, hugging the cold metal of the laptop to my chest. And that was when the second notification hit my phone. An email from the Department of Motor Vehicles. Notice of transfer of liability. I stared at the screen. My sedan, the car I bought with cash 5 years ago but kept in Dale's name to save on insurance because I was frugal, had been sold online 3 hours ago. The timestamp was 20 minutes before I arrived at the house. He had sold my car while I was driving it to them, probably using the spare key to hand it off to the buyer while I was inside being evicted. $38,000 in assets gone in a single night. I called Bella. She answered on the second ring, sounding annoyed as if I were a telemarketer interrupting her evening. You stole my laptop, I said, and you sold my car. I didn't steal anything, Bella snapped. We raised you, Corinza. We put a roof over your head for 18 years. Consider that laptop a small repayment on the debt you owe us. Besides, Vanessa's party planner needed a deposit. You can always buy another computer. You are single. You have fewer expenses. She hung up. I sat there in the silence of the parking lot. The heater wheezed, the snow fell, and something inside me finally snapped shut. It wasn't a brake. It was a locking mechanism. I wiped the last tear I would ever shed for them off my cheek. I opened my laptop. The screen glowed to life, asking for a password. I stopped being Kenza, the daughter who wanted to be loved. I became Kenza, the auditor, the fixer, the woman who dissects rot for a living. I didn't need to cry anymore. I needed to run the numbers. I didn't sleep. Sleep is for people who have time to waste, and I was on a deadline. The motel room was freezing, the heater having given up hours ago, but the cold kept me sharp. I sat at the small desk, my recovered laptop humming a sound that felt like a heartbeat returning to a chest. It was time to audit the books. I logged into my professional suite. These weren't public tools. These were proprietary databases used to track distressed assets and high-risk liabilities. I started with the easy part. The money for my car. I traced the sale. Dale had listed the sedan on a quick sale auction site. The transaction was finalized at 4:15 in the afternoon for $8,000, a steal for the buyer, a felony for him. I followed the money trail. It didn't go to the mortgage. It didn't go to utilities. It went to Gilded Events, a high-end party planning service. $8,000. He sold my car to pay for a chocolate fountain and a nice sculpture for Vanessa's launch party. I felt a cold metallic taste in my mouth. They weren't just stealing from me, they were cannibalizing me to feed Vanessa's ego. I dug deeper, running a comprehensive asset search on Dale and Bella. I expected to find them struggling. They had been whining about money for years. But I didn't expect to find a corpse. Their finances were dead on arrival. They had refinanced the house 3 times in 5 years. They had maxed out 4 credit cards. And the biggest red flag of all, a notice of default filed 30 days ago. They weren't just broke. They were 30 days away from foreclosure. The house, the one they kicked me out of to make room for Vanessa, wasn't even theirs anymore. It belonged to the bank, and the bank was coming to collect. But I needed a weapon. A foreclosure is sad. It's not leverage. I needed a crime. I looked at their most recent refinancing application, the one pending approval to save them from the foreclosure. I couldn't hack the bank to see it. That's movie logic, but I knew Dale. I knew his greed. I picked up my phone and called Mr. Stone, a corporate attorney who owed me a favor for saving his firm from a messy audit last year. I need a shell company, I said. Name it Vantage Holdings. Make it look like a boutique investment firm specializing in high-risk assets. And then I need you to call Dale. This was the honeypot strategy. In my line of work, we call it feeding the hope. You don't attack a desperate animal. It bites. You offer it food. You let it get comfortable. You let it think it's safe. Mr. Stone made the call an hour later. He played the part perfectly. He told Dale that Vantage Holdings represented a private investor looking for unconventional portfolios and that they were interested in consolidating Dale's debt to help support Vanessa's promising career. I monitored Dale's email through a shared family server he had never bothered to remove me from. I watched the bait land. Dale didn't just bite, he swallowed the hook. He replied within 4 minutes, gushing about his business acumen and how Vanessa was on the brink of global stardom. Mr. Stone sent the follow-up. To expedite the valuation, please forward your most recent loan application submitted to your current lender. We need to match their asset assessment. It was a standard request. If Dale had been honest, he would have hesitated, but Dale wasn't honest. He was arrogant. He believed his own lies. The email pinged in my inbox. I opened it, scrolling past the inflated value of the house, past the understated debts. I stopped at the income section. Applicant Dale Miller, annual income $85,000. Co-applicant Vanessa Miller, annual income $200,000. Source, social media brand partnerships. I stared at the number. $200,000. Vanessa didn't make $200,000. Vanessa didn't make $200. Her brand was a bot-inflated Instagram account and a box of unsold t-shirts in the garage. Dale had lied to a federally insured bank to secure a loan.